I am Valerie Carlton, and I would like to thank you that you're here. My committee and I have made this short video to try and help explain this madness and set the record straight. I married my ex-husband Russell Carlton in 2000, but after 6 years of domestic violence, including his assault conviction for strangulation, I divorced him. About a year later, he was awarded custody of our then 6-year-old daughter, Winnifer, in a trial where false evidence was admitted against me and positive reports and testimony in my favor were ignored.
Until I encountered Valerie's case, which goes so far beyond normal experience that I still have trouble grasping that this is really happening, even though I have been involved in this case for more than 2.5 years.
The court also ignored a finding from their appointed court psychologist that Mr. Carlton was, in quote, delusional and could not identify inappropriate versus appropriate behaviors and actions.
When the committee to Vindicate Valerie Carlton invited me to speak at this rally, I asked them what they wanted me to talk about. Because the facts of this case are so voluminous, I could not possibly convey them in a limited amount of time. They said I should address the problem of evil as it pertains to Valerie's case. One committee member sent me a quotation from a book by political scientist Alan Wolfe that has just come out, entitled Political Evil, What It Is and How to Combat It. The quotation was Professor Wolfe's definition of political evil: the willful, malevolent, and gratuitous death, destruction, and suffering inflicted upon innocent people by the leaders of movements and states in their strategic effort to achieve realizable objectives.
The court is now in session.
After all custodial rights were stripped from me, Winnifer began to exhibit very unusual and more extreme behaviors. She became very clingy to me and expressed a lot of fear. She told me of horrific incidents where her father and their Brazilian neighbors and some of her cousins would abuse her. So much so that I broke down and I called the police to come and interview her in my home in Harford County, and a report was made. They promised me that CPS of Harford County would follow up and definitely look into the matter, but they never did. In 2008, in what unfortunately became a perfect storm, my significant other, Jacob Gendelman, Orthodox Jewish Israeli businessman who wanted custody of our unborn son, threatened that he would set me up and have me incarcerated for a very long time if I would not adhere to his custodial demands. Months before he did join forces with my ex-husband and my feuding neighbor, Miss Anders. I didn't know what was going on, but I was suspicious because the timing was so perfect that my daughter was taken out of school, this was not during vacation time, and tripped off to Disney World with her father and cousins. Apparently, because how perfect the timing was, they knew that she would be coming back to the interrogations, and it would be harder for she and I to communicate while they knew I was going to be investigated and charged. So, you know, it seems pretty obvious with timing if everybody looks at the events and how they unfolded. While they were setting me up and while they took my baby from me, my infant was born, and they put him in an unfit foster situation where he suffocated, and even during his homicide investigations, all that time I was incarcerated and held for over 13 months in solitary confinement. My life was under constant threat because of my hideous charges and also because of my religion. I became a statewide pariah in Maryland and in my hometown community, which I am to this day. The propaganda became that out of control and furious. Even today, I haven't been able to visit my son's grave. I was incarcerated when he was buried by Mr. Carlton and Mr. Gendelman and my father, yes. My case was never tried, and all charges were eventually dropped, with one exception that I did plead guilty to sending an email to my daughter's first grade teacher pleading that she please help my little girl. Days after my advocate team were able to raise funds and hire me a private attorney, prison officials fabricated 5 additional new charges against me and had me indicted on those 5 charges, which included assaulting an officer of the peace with a weapon that I constructed out of prison contraband. I'm certain, however, now that the truth will come out, and more people are beginning to become aware and alarmed of the cause and effects, which clearly don't match up. No one has cared to investigate my past, my awards, my teaching, my community service, my lobbying, and no one has investigated Russell Carlton's past, his drug abuse, his dropping out of high school, and his family's severe and documented dysfunction, which includes homicide, suicides, sexual abuse, and even animal abuse. All of this waiting to be researched. More people are coming to my website now, www.valeriecarlton.com, and they are beginning to connect with me through my Facebook, through my LinkedIn. They are beginning to come and realize the truth and communicate with me and realize how very deeply I still love my little girl. Even after all this unbelievable separation, I still love her more than ever. As every sane parent knows, I will never stop loving her, and I will never stop caring about her welfare. I will never stop telling the truth, not only for our sake, for my daughter and my sakes, but for everybody's sake. Because in this crazy world, the truth is becoming even more precious and important for us to share. I have enormous faith in God. I am Valerie Carlton. I have escaped death and insanity. I have escaped torture, which, yes, my MRI report results will confirm. I am certain now that the truth will come out, and it will set us all free. Please go to my website, www.valeriecarlton.com, and please look at the documents and the pages, which will better explain how I've ended up here and how I ended up having to flee Maryland to a Jewish community in Rockland County, New York. A huge outpouring of protest and documentation on my behalf eventually caused the New York governor's office to stipulate that they would only extradite me to Maryland if it would not be to Harford County. When Harford County learned about this, they said they didn't want me anymore. And eventually, after I served an additional 3 months of imprisonment in the Rockland County jail, my extradition matter was terminated. Harford County said that they didn't want me, but that they would not erase the warrant in Harford County, nor would they drop the charges. They did not withdraw any of the assault charges, and so although it's not on the NCIS, I still do have these charges, and apparently I have a warrant filed in the Maryland Harford County courts. I'm still, therefore, not free to visit my daughter, which I haven't seen in over 3 years. And even my mother, Lena Gordon, had to request formal visitation rights with her granddaughter, Winnifer, in her court in Anne Arundel. Russ was blocking her communication and access to her granddaughter at the same time as my extradition matter was resolving. Apparently, 3 days before my mother's unsupervised visitation with Winnifer was scheduled to take place, Mr. Carlton emailed my mother's attorney that he had taken a job in Patos, Paraíba, Brazil, and he had relocated there with Winnifer. My daughter then became more isolated in a remote location where she did not speak the language, being in essence held hostage, even by her own father, a man documented as delusional, who is continuing to use the most extreme measures of parental alienation and the psychological abuse of this child. We are aware that my daughter has never been told the truth about me, about her deceased brother, about her pets, her friends and family in our hometown of Harford County. But rather, she's been filled with horrific lies, criminally manipulated, and exploited by her own father, a man who continues to find pleasure deceiving and harming masses of people using his voice and delusional, malicious intentions behind the face of what he continues to insist is the condition of our innocent and clearly confused little girl. Please help me spread the truth, and please help share this video so that you can have people finally investigate this matter. And hopefully Mr. Carlton and Mr. Gendelman and Miss Karen Anders will be exposed, and they will be properly prosecuted for their crimes. In closing, I will simply ask that you pray for my little girl, Winnifer Hope Carlton, her Hebrew name Shalamis Malka Bas Sarah. And may God bless you all of you who are dealing with similar custodial or child protective, manipulative abuse. All of you, I'm here to share this story so that our victory will be a Kiddush Hashem. Our victory will unite and be that much of a stronger, larger, more unified victory for all of us. I thank you so much for listening to this full video. Please continue to subscribe to my sites and help me spread this word. Thank you. And I am certain that Winnifer will eventually be able to thank you and appreciate what you all have helped us accomplish as well.
The Carlton case is very important because it points to a serious flaw in our system in which prosecutors get away literally with murder, and where, you know, an innocent victim is actually turned into a perpetrator. I mean, Valerie started out as a battered woman, and now she's, you know, she's on the 10 most wanted list in the state of Maryland. It's ridiculous. She's an innocent woman.
No.